it. Hello.
Hi.
Okay. First of all, what's up, colleagues, coworkers? Happy Friday, Junior. I paused for a second because it's so beautiful outside. And also, we're starting a little bit weird because, Tori and I can see each other backstage. We usually go, "Are you ready to go?" And I've just been looking at your head and just looking at you for like 7 minutes.
I didn't see you. I didn't see you.
I text you. I was like, "I'm right here," and you didn't say anything.
I
And then
didn't
you
see
go,
you at
"Where
all
are you?" And I was like,
backstage.
"You'll see me when we start the show," and we have. How are you, my darling dear?
I'm doing well. We had a band on the show today that you'll see tomorrow, and everybody was in the studio was real chill today. So that's
What do you attribute that to?
some days you get high energy, some days you get really chill, and I'm not always the best with real chill, so I tried really hard to like chill out. But I don't know. I have a colonoscopy tomorrow, so I have not eaten anything today, and I'm a little hangry. So if you if I get a little rageful, it's because of the hanger.
Okay. Well, I will say this as far as texting me. Let me make sure everything's good. Okay. Yes. She's telling me, Tori said, "Where are you?" I've been here for 15 minutes.
You did not show up. There was no Al.
I've been here for so long. I've downloaded 2 images that I'm going to use for 2 later shows that we're doing. That's how long I've been sitting here, and maybe placing a wager on two on the NCAA tournament that started today. So yes.
I don't know about that. What's that called? I'm just kidding.
No, okay, yeah, we're gonna do some vibey sports picks. Maybe later. We have not prepped for that, but I feel like we might have to do one of those on the fly in honor of this incredible day. First of all, Tori, I'm a little I feel disrespected that you're telling me about your colonoscopy because I am picking you up and dropping you off and then taking you home from said colonoscopy.
You're just picking me up. You don't have to drop me off. I would never ask that. I'm going to get a lift, and then you're going to just pick me up in recovery when I'm on anesthesia, and hopefully we'll get some footage for you guys.
Yes, we will definitely get footage, but don't I have to be there because it's not sure when you're going to come out? Like I need a window. There has to be a window.
You're there at 11:30.
Okay. My out time is 11:45, so we got.
Wait, really?
Yeah, other than that, like tell your Lyft driver to circle the block. No, Tori, of course I'm going to wait.
They don't let you go with someone like a Lyft driver because you're under the influence and someone could take advantage of you.
Yes, but they'll let that Lyft driver pick you up from a club at 3:30 in the morning.
Totally.
Yeah, so it's the rules got some holes in it, but I like that they have they've done that, and I'm sure. I mean, my friend of our show, a friend of ours, Corinne Kaplan, she told me one time she has. At first, I thought she was lying. She was born without opioid receptors.
Oh,
have you heard? So, like anesthesia, like they have to like knock her out like around, like she's woken up in the middle of her surgeries before.
Yeah, redheads need more anesthesia.
Is that a real thing?
Yeah, redheads don't have the same opioid receptors.
That sounds like a line that they give guys in that playbook called what is it? The Game, where they teach lame guys how to talk to hot chicks, and they're like, "Go up and insult her hair," and then she'll say what, and then you start talking to her. But yeah, no, I mean that's really, being redhead does mean that you have I guess 2 recessive genes that are showing themselves. Like obviously phenotypically they're showing themselves, so maybe it affects you internally as well. That's super interesting. I haven't read that.
Yes, you
Has
need
anybody
Gemini.
else in the chat heard that? I read ELC said, "Hey, slap," and I said, "Has anybody in the chat?" So I blame ELC for that verbal miscue. But has anybody else heard that?
Unique Gemini says my friend's a redhead, and that's absolutely true.
Really? That's fascinating. Yes, Corinne. She and she said one time, I forgot what she was getting done, but I guess because a lot of these outpatient surgery places work on, like most places, head count. She was coming out of surgery and they were like already like getting her dressed and like standing her up and putting her pants on her, like, "Oh, you good?" And she was like, I guess. And they let her leave.
Dude, it's I've only come out of anesthesia like once or twice, but it's a nice sleep. Like they're
It's
like,
a
where do you
great
want to go? And
sleep.
they're like, I want to go to the Maldives. And he goes, okay. And then he put me under, and I was like, yeah. But yeah, you say things that you don't remember that you can regret.
Yeah. It's when I got my colonoscopy, first of all, they make you get into like a weird position, that the kind of position you are when you're on the couch and you have like your hands folded in the prayer position in between your thighs. I guess so, face sideways. Nothing rhymes with that one. Yeah. But the easy access. And he was like, so how's it been on DBL? And I've been like, it's been, and that was it. I was
you're out.
Yeah, but they get you going on some dumb topic that you're never going to finish that sentence.
Jeez,
but
Louise.
Tori, before we get started, I was like, me, I'm always like, I know that you're dealing with some tough times, but tough times need good friends surrounding you. So I'm like, what can I do to make Tori happy today? And I made you a video. Now, normally I wouldn't focus on politics because that might bum you out. But this is a video from Newsmax 2, not Newsmax 1, Newsmax 2. There's two. I didn't know there were two. It's terrible that there's one. But Newsmax 2 was interviewing some Trump supporters in line, getting ready to go into a little chit chat he was having. So I hope this makes your day. I made this just for you.
I'm 4 hours from here. I'm in Western Kentucky. So Thomas Massey, to me, has been a formidable person in the Trump administration, but he has a tendency to flip-flop on some issues. And
he does vote with the president about 90% of the time, though. Let me ask you, sir, the war in Iran, is this going to help the president if he can get out of it in the next couple of weeks, or could this potentially hurt him heading into the midterms?
I think it should help. It doesn't last too long. We don't want it to last too long, but it's something that needs to be done for 47 years.
So what's in the ground? Does that concern you, sir?
Yes, sir. I've got a grandson in Jordan at their time, and it does concern you. But at the same time, I'm like Danny. I do feel like it's needed to be done for a long time. Done for a long time. Done for a long time.
Guys, coming up on the midterms, and what's the number one concern for you right now?
I mean, just really just want the Republicans to show out and not be too confident. That's a really concern for mine, and just making sure that all these policies get pushed through. Some of them are no-brainers.
No-brainer, like to say that.
I personally believe that U.S. Americans are unable to do so because some people out there in our nation don't have maps, and I believe that our education, like such as in South Africa and the Iraq, everywhere like such as.
I'm just proud to be an American.
There you go. I like that. Might be the best answer I've got all day. How about you guys?
No
more issue.
What do you think? Probably pro-life and stuff like that.
And why should we pass the SAVE Act?
I'm not from around here.
You're not from around here. We got anything you'd like for him to work on, or what do you think his focus should be going into the midterms?
More chairs inside.
More chairs inside.
More chairs? Oh my God.
First of all, she's in a chair. And I think she was parroting what she's hearing from that guy draped in the American flag that was pushing her. That's like, damn, I wish there were some chairs in here. And she's just like, all right, this guy's been shoving me around this convention. I get it. So, I mean, that was the number one concern. You know what I took from that video is these people are standing outside. They're standing outside in the rain for a political event. And none of them had any, those two guys had we've been needing to get to Iran for 47 years. That was all they knew. And when Black Hat said that, the guy whose grandson was in Jordan, he was like, F, that's all I had. So he goes, we've been looking to do that for a while now. And just like, they're at a political event, but have no, they're fascinating to me. It's so fascinating. They're not even like trying to use like political language to get through, like tax cuts for themselves. They're just like, she wants some chairs. And this girl, the one girl is like, what do you want to do? And she's like, I'm out here for pro-life and stuff like that. Stuff like that. All right, Tori, let's get into some stuff like that because she's not wrong. I guess everything is kind of some stuff like that. So let's get into it. Tori, I assume that you have been following what's going on in Iran. So let's continue to talk about the disaster that a lot of people would be going over there. People were like, you shouldn't do that. He's like, I should. And they were like, should.
Julia just wrote, no one had any logical answer.
Julia, nobody. You would think okay, 1 out of 10 people would be like, I have a farm. And even though the tariffs have hurt me, I understand they're designed to cause U.S. companies to start to produce these products and we can make that money domestically. That's stupid, but it's an answer about tariffs. They were just like, that one guy was like, I can't speak on the SAVE Act because I'm not from around here. That's not how legislation works. Tori, what is your stance on immigration? I'm from DC. I don't know. Like, what? That's not, it's not, just say you don't know.
It just very much shows you it's the cult of the personality. They're there for daddy issue and they want daddy. And I don't mean that in a rude way. Everybody has got issues. But
I don't think it's rude.
It is about him. It's like,
Absolutely.
you're not there for the policies. You don't really know what's going on. You just know he seems machismo. So you're going to wait in line for him. But once he's gone, there's no one in that Republican Party that has that draw, which is just fascinating. And I don't know why he has that draw. I never will.
So weird, Tori. And the last thing I'll say about it is you never think about it from Trump and his advisors' point of view. But right now, there are 5 sirens going off at all times in everybody's office saying we have to pass the SAVE Act. Otherwise, it's going to be a bloodbath at the midterms. And so we have to push on our people the SAVE Act. They're like, don't talk about anything else. Just the SAVE Act has to be our new stop the steal. That's what I would be saying.
Yeah.
And you go in line to your target low information voter. And you're like, sir, do you want to talk about the SAVE Act? He folds his arms and says, I'm not from here. That's all your hard work. Save me. Well, Tori, speaking of being safe, we all need to be safe from what's going on over in Iran, including the Iranians. My thoughts and prayers to all the normal folks over there that were living their lives and just had bombs dropped on their heads. The Iran war is also hitting our wallets here in the U.S. Tori,
I got gas. I'm just saying, I got gas last night and I was shooketh. Now I have my mom's old car. I do not have a Mercedes-Benz because I own a Mercedes-Benz. My mother had it and it was called the Red Hot Mama and it's bright red and it looks, like Al has said, a bit like a Toyota Scion. It's an SUV Mercedes, and it's from.
I have never seen a car like it, but I've never met anybody like Judy, and I've never met anybody like you. So that car fits perfect. I love that car. It's so you.
I happily ride it.
It's awesome.
It's very weird looking, but there's a mezuzah in there. But I went to get it, and I did a double take. It was $83 to fill up my gas, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's about $35 to $40 more than it usually is. And I was shooketh. So,
Tori, do you know, just you saying that, what I thought about is you have a pretty short commute to work.
It's not that long.
Think about the people that go, oh, I live 40 miles outside of the city.
I know. Can
you imagine?
No. And if they have to use like a premium, the premium, like if they have to for their car, I was just like, it came to light where I was like, I was shocked because I was really shocked. And he's digging himself a hole here. Reports from DC are he wants out badly. He realizes he's a bit over his head. He doesn't have the backing. The polling is terrible. The gas prices are going up. We're losing American soldiers. Not the things you want when your polling as a president is in the tank, is in the tube tank.
Yeah,
it's in the tank.
Either one. It's in both.
In the toilet.
And
It's in the toilet.
You know what, Tori? It's like, you think about how low it was after Minnesota. And then they were like, all right, we got to get these polls up.
And then they took away the polls.
Then they were like, after I'm sure they got done doing a ton of not snow, they were like, all right, we got to get to work and get these polls up. We can do it. Our base is pretty gullible. I just got a text. The president started a war. Okay. So now they're not even using numbers. I don't think it's just probably just hieroglyphics, just like cavemen scrawled on the wall. Like, that's bad, sir. Buffalo is how we're doing in the South. Like, like to describe, I cannot even in a comedic way think about one more thing he could do to drop his polling. He's done.
I was almost like, is he doing it on purpose? Like, yeah, you're absolutely right. I do want to just let people know that she has a Nissan Rogue, filled it up, and it was $45, half a tank of gas.
Oh my gosh.
Nissan Rogue.
And let me just say this, shout out to Nissan Rogue. We should all love Nissan Rogues. Baby girl Sar Lamb was driving, before she met me, she was driving her Nissan Rogue home to New Mexico, and she hit an elk in the middle of the night. A full-grown elk smashed her Nissan Rogue on a desolate mountain highway. Smashed it. I've seen pictures, and killed the elk, obviously. Oh. And she's like, this, I don't know how long ago. I'm sure she's in the chat. This is probably 10, 12 years ago. And she said randomly on this dark highway, 2 like animal rangers were like driving back to the lab or whatever and saw her, and they dragged it off the highway for her and took her somewhere, wherever, like the safe place. So shout out to the Nissan Rogue. She hit, what do the elks run? Like probably 600 pounds?
I actually don't know the difference between if I saw a big stag or an elk, which one is which.
I think, doesn't a stag describe an elk? And
no, a stag is a male deer.
Oh, then I don't know. That's all I had. I'm like that guy in line. I'm like, I'm not from here. I don't know.
That's our excuse every time. I'm not from here.
The thing is, I don't even look stuff up on the phone. I know the chat will be all over this. Chat, let us know the difference between first of all, how much does an elk weigh, and what's the difference between a stag and an
elk? W says elks are way bigger. Do they have
I think they're huge, right?
Okay, Shelly says they're huge. Do they have the antlers? Like, how do you know? Can you be a female elk? Sorry, I have a lot of questions. A stag is a male deer. Yeah, I knew that. But
I'm just thinking doe, a deer, a female deer. So is that?
That's what you call a doe. A doe is a female deer. And then a male deer is a stag, but an elk is different.
Yeah, so Colleen says
big faces and no tail. It's what a weird way to describe something.
Yeah, well, yeah, but like, which ones are mean? Which ones aren't moose like mean as F? Moose are like seriously mean, I think. A stag.
Yeah, I think you want to stay away from them. A stag wears the smoking jacket and has a mansion. That's so funny. Yeah, I thought the elk weighs about a ton. Oh, I thought Bullwinkle was a moose. I think Bullwinkle is a moose. Black Asian is saying, think of female elk are cows. I thought that was a steer. A male cow is a steer or a bull.
Okay. Well, Tori, do you know this conversation is making me think about this? I did a show with comedian Kevin Fitzgerald. Do you know who he is? He's a famous veterinarian. He's a friend of mine. And I want to start bringing him on the show pretty regular to answer.
I watched his show.
Oh, really? Like we did a show together in Golden 2 weeks ago.
I watched his like animal veterinary show.
Also, he's lived the coolest life that anybody on the planet ever has. He was a bodyguard for the Rolling Stones.
He's like Giuseppe's guy.
Yeah, he toured with Elton John. He toured with Joan Rivers. And he just like is just chilling. I'm like, I told one of the other comics, Kevin is those guys that let you finish your best story at the party. And it's like, I was with Elton John once, and we were having high tea with the Prime Minister of Turkey. Do you want to finish, Tori? Something about Disney World?
You fell down at Disney? Was that what was that?
You're like, I'm all done here. Yeah. So okay. This is see now
we're getting more confused.
It's spilled over into the chat.
Female elk are called cows.
Oh, and did you know the reason that I thought about Kevin Fitzgerald was when we were doing the show, he was talking to me about obviously he showed me this picture and he was like, that's a beefalo. Do you know what a beefalo is?
Are they beefier?
No, they're cows that have been bred with bulls.
There's nothing called a beefalo.
I swear on my mother's life. Did I hold on? Now I gotta. Why do y'all?
Has anyone heard of beefalos?
I keep that same energy, buddy.
It sounds a little bit like.
Trust me. Do you think I thought that there was something? He was such a beefalo. You know, I can't. It's like now you just like have to. Let me go down.
Okay, people have heard of it. Okay.
Yeah, and they thought it was going to get big in the '60s because I guess what is it? Bulls or whatever, they eat up a bunch of they take a bunch of food basically to make them big. Beefalo just eat grass, and so they're environmentally better, but they didn't catch on. Clearly you don't know, and clearly I don't know. Let's get back to
okay, so Black Asian says beefalo are hybrid cattle, typically 3/8 American bison, 5/8 domestic cattle. They're bred for leaner, higher protein meat and hardiness.
That's what I was trying to say, but I'm dumb.
Thanks, Black Asian.
We
appreciate you. Weird. Okay.
Yeah,
so
isn't that so interesting? Let me get they look interesting though, Tor. It's like but we were talking about this because for some reason we were talking about buffalo and bison. I was like, which one is found here? And then I was like, oh, can they still mate? And it's something that's called genetic drift. It's like if a singular population is separated by a landmass, like by Pangea or whatever, as the generations go along, they're no longer allowed to mate. Not allowed to. They can't mate with each other because they're so genetically different. It's really interesting. All right, let me pull up this beefalo and
wow, this conversation has gone into such a different way than I thought it was going.
I know, but like everybody in the chat, they already know stuff in Iran isn't going great. But like, would you know that you were going to leave this conversation knowing what a beefalo looked like? All right. So, all right, this is okay. It's being sent. And okay, here we go. It's super interesting, Tor.
Beefalo.
It kind of looks like how it sounds.
Are you showing it?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, it's like a big cow.
Okay.
It's like a cow that was been in the pen for 13 years, just lifting and fighting his case.
Yeah, he's on a little of the roan. He's got some roid rage. That's a beefalo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But he doesn't want to start anything in jail. He's like, I got 2 more years and I go see my kids and I'm not messing with y'all. All right, Tori, let's get back to what's going on in this world. And that would be Iran. Tori, what are your thoughts? Because you were saying that Donald Trump is trying to get out of this. And I'll tell the colleagues why. It's because Israel struck Iran's South Pars gas field. Energy prices jumped. Iran threatened zero restraint. And the Pentagon is reportedly asking for billions. What I saw was 200 billion. 200, Tori. More as Americans brace for higher gas prices. If this war wipes out the tax cut bump for regular people, do Republicans finally push back, or are they still all in like those people in line for Trump?
I don't think a lot of people are all in even now. I think maybe the hardest core MAGA, the polling that I saw at last time was at about 17%. That's like for like great flavored things, like 17, like that's really low. Like that's quite low, especially for a war in the beginning. But as you heard, that guy goes, yeah, we need the war, but not too long. And you can hear the patience is already running out. It's been less than a month. This,
Right.
they want an end to this. This isn't like a, let's go USA. We're going to save, we're going to fight fascism. I mean, there was a whole, ad production made to like represent World War II for good reason. I mean, they were mutilating and killing millions of people. But this war, I would bet you all of my money, no one could tell you why we started this war. There isn't any kind of like patriotic reason we're going there, other than Israel wanted the war, which is interesting. But at this point, Trump, like Bam Bam, how I've always called him, he moves on quickly. And if things are dragging and they're not doing well, like the ballroom's not getting finished. Like it's just hanging there with all this.
Yeah.
Like he just moves on, kind of like ADHD. And like this war didn't bring him the distraction that he thought, or the polling numbers didn't go up. Hegseth looks like a mess. And I think, I just don't know who this is popular, to be honest, with at all, even within the Republican Party. So I just don't see this as doable. I don't think they're doing it well. I think this is a losing proposition for just about everybody. So, so I'm confused.
And it's like, it's a losing proposition that didn't have to be. Sometimes you are a president that has to stand in front of the country and be like, look, no matter how you feel, we're kind of losing Vietnam and we need to pull out. Sometimes you're Jimmy Carter that's like, look, America, I hate to tell you this, but we are not some nation that's been touched on the forehead by God. We got to make some serious changes if we want to be economically viable. This is a president. All he had to do was not start a war,
which he ran on.
All he had to do was kind of string along or put the kibosh on the Epstein files. His cabinet was unable to do that. He was unable to not give $40 billion to Argentina. He was unable to not pass the big, beautiful bill, which attacked directly his supporters, closing their hospitals, their Medicaid, their Social Security. All he had to do was not do two of these four things, and he'd still be fine. But he has made it impossible for anybody that is not a true dyed-in-the-wool cultist to even make excuses for him. Because, Tori, we are in the escalation trap. That's a term that people have been hearing more and more. And escalation trap is exactly what Iran is doing. Because the escalation trap is we're going to keep pulling the big guy in. We're going to keep pulling them in. They're like, hey, we're just a bunch of dumb people in the desert. And we just embarrass you. You're going to let that go? Although you're going to pay us reparations? You're going to admit you're wrong? They know he's not. So what does he got to do, Tori? He's got to do the last thing that Americans told him not to do. Boots on the ground. Because you cannot do a regime change by bombing people in the air. Germany tried it in England. You cannot do it. And especially a country like Iran that's been under sanctions since the late 70s. They're like, it's not great, but we're built for this. Let's see if
they're ready for that.
Can make it through the summer with with $9 gas.
Yeah, exactly. How that's and a summer of travel and all of that as well. The only thing I can say to this is he has always claimed that he's the chaos president. He needed to create chaos to distract from the Epstein files. They are not going away. In fact, Pam Bondi is being subpoenaed and being deposed about her handling.
Well, Tori, let's get to that right now. Let me set you up and then you run. Pam Bondi gives the most DC answer possible as Democrats stormed out of an Epstein files briefing after Bondi would only say she would follow the law instead of clearly committing to the subpoena and testifying under oath. First of all, this was just an impromptu. They just said, she's coming in today. And the Democrats are like, what? We don't have any questions written down. Do you trust Bondi? I think I can answer that, to tell the truth on Epstein, or is this just another cover up? What are your thoughts?
It looks like Bondi's just going to the grave with this and will keep fighting with her legs, kicking and screaming. The Democrats aren't going to let this go. They want it published. They want her under oath. They want the public to see it. And they literally, when they stormed out, the speaker, who I forgot which congressman, he was like trying to be eloquent and say, and finally he goes, because she's a liar. It was like, it got to just be like recess during kindergarten, because that's how like it's all getting played. But what people don't know is like, when you're part of the executive branch and you're underneath Donald Trump, you think you have all this power, and you do. You have a lot of power as Attorney General. But when you come up against both houses of Congress, both parties of Congress saying, we don't believe you, and you have perjured yourself, you have just hit the exact same level of a branch, and you are going down. I mean, this is Bondi is also in over her head, and she's kicking and screaming to the very last thing. She will not relent. I completely agree, but this will wrap up her career, and her legacy will be that she let children that were allegedly raped, tortured, she let their videos, faces be shown instead of actually the perpetrators. I mean, that's a crappy legacy, especially as a female, to go down in. So Bondi is nowhere to go. She's between a rock and a hard place. And in my opinion, she's going down. So,
well, I'll tell you where she doesn't want to go. She doesn't want to go anywhere in front of recorded testimony where her testimony can be read by American citizens. Absolutely. And it's under oath.
I was going to say, and under oath. If she wants to do it, she does not want to do it under oath. And the Democrats aren't going to allow that. It's like they forgot in the executive branch that there's two other levels of government. They just totally didn't think there would be enforcement. And I'm proud at least to say Congress has been doing something. Remember how, Al, we've been like, do something, hold somebody accountable. We're seeing more of that. I'd like them to do more with Les Wexner and all that, but that's Department of Justice, which she is the head of. So they kicked out Kristi Noem. I mean, I think they're making a stink, and that's what they need to continue doing. So, right. Yeah.
And shout out to them for storming out of this testimony, because I know a lot of people be like, well, Democrats said they wanted the answers. And no, this was a stunt.
It was a disrespectful stunt.
It was a stunt so that she now has the talking point. I tried to meet with the Democrats and they wouldn't meet with me.
They're not playing that game.
Yeah, they're like, we're going to have a scheduled hearing.
Exactly.
It's going to be under oath and it will be public. We're not doing any of that crap you pulled with the Clintons where they wanted it to be public. And then you guys like, no, it's private, but we're leaking stuff. People are tired of these games, especially when it comes to young kids, and especially because there's also going to be boots on the ground, and especially because they're going to be paying higher prices at the pump. And also don't forget higher prices at the grocery store, Tori, because the fertilizer that the farmers that we all love, that it's on every stupid political commercial. I'm a farmer and I voted for this administration. Well, you don't have any fertilizer now, homie.
Yeah.
Because if you do a little research, that comes out of Iran too.
Yeah.
So we'll see when people are paying a ton of money, Tor.
It always hits the wallet, but I do want to say that you're so right. It's the younger people that don't want to handle this anymore and allow it to happen. So in the line of the guy that was like, she's a liar, you saw Congressman Maxwell Frost. He's the youngest congressman we have. He is from the school shooting type of generation that I say needs to come up into Congress. So you're seeing young Congress people as the people that are lining up for the press conference. And that's a good move by Democrats to show that like, we're on to you. You don't have this. I do want to share. Joy Beckford says she'll end up like Rudy when Trump is finished with her. You're exactly right. But I did want to say there was a woman, Al, I don't know if you saw her. She was like, I can't believe the gas is so high. And they're like, and how many times did you vote for Trump?
Her.
And she's like, I voted for him 3 times. So I guess that makes me the idiot.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And that viral video that I'm sure all the colleagues have seen, I should have had it queued up. That video is from central Pennsylvania, which last I checked, Tori, is a swing state.
It is the swing state. We've now learned to win, you need Pennsylvania. And that's why I think you're going to see Josh Shapiro on a ticket at some point, because he's a governor from Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I mean it's a big deal, and I've never seen a government kind of flail the way this one has. But Tori, just because you said Josh, we're going to do a quick flip, and we're going to get to another story. We don't have something that says what infamous people are doing, so I'm not going to use that one. This guy's. All right, Tori, remember the show 19 Kids and Counting?
Oh, the Duggars. No, this is not a picture of an abortion. Someone wrote that. It's about a woman.
Oh,
she's
God.
throwing salt back into the salt water.
Oh man, I wasn't ready for that. Okay.
Okay.
All right, Tori, we're talking about Joe Duggar. Remember we interviewed Anna Duggar. Wasn't that her name? The sister?
I think so. I thought we interviewed like a couple.
Yeah, they came together. It was her and her husband. I think she was just starting to come out and speak about what was going on in that family.
That family is just.
Tori, this is the other brother that condemned his brother. What's his name? What's the convicted dirtbag? This is Joseph. What's
the guy who was a child molester?
Yeah, I just said his name.
Josh.
Josh, thank you. So this is it was Josh Duggar. So Joseph Duggar has been arrested on charges involving alleged SA abuse of a child, years after publicly condemning his brother Josh's misconduct. At what point does this family stop getting treated like a brand and start getting treated as a pattern? And also, at what point does TLC take a little heat? Who y'all putting on TV?
Yeah, I mean, the legal ramifications of vetting these people is very interesting to me. And I remember when I used to watch John and Kate plus 8, like religiously, I was like really into them. And TLC also had some complaints about there was some child alleged abuse going on in terms of things behind the stage. And it seemed like TLC was just like, if it makes money, put it on the air. Like, it doesn't matter if these people are terrible people, put it on the air. But the Duggars to me aren't a brand. They are just a dumpster fire. Like, if I said the name, the Duggar family, like I couldn't name a single person that would say good things about them. I don't. I think they're going to ask Trump to get pardoned. Like, this is the whole like Chris Lee world. So I cannot believe Joe Duggar. I wonder what these kids were
subjected to.
Yeah, it just makes me wonder that like so many came out so backwards, and they were so Christian. They were so evangelical. They were so reading the Bible as everything and following, and then they're doing this horrific abuse. So,
well, I mean, again, it's kind of like what I say when I talk about communities that are immersed in SA cases like this. We look at them as one-offs, Tori. Like, oh, Josh did it, and then Jeff did it. No. Let's look at the bigger pattern. What happened last year on the reunion show with the Mormon wives? Every single one of those girls said that they were SA'd as a little kid. Every single one. Very few stories about it. They were like, great episode. I was like, excuse me?
Yeah.
Now we have a family that has been pushing this, have a bunch of kids, have a bunch of daughters. You know me. I don't drink. I do deep dives, Tori. That's what I do. Do you know why they have a bunch of daughters, Tori? So that they can trade them. They can trade them with their other disgusting men. Why do you think all these communities are set up behind a rock 90 miles outside of Salt Lake City? Because they're doing something good?
Yeah,
they don't educate these girls. A lot of them do not have a driver's license.
Right.
And why is that important? They can't get away. They're not educated. They me and Sar, we watch Breaking Amish, and it's kind of the similar thing. Keep the women dumb and sweeping and having kids. One of the women that tried to leave, she did leave Mormonism, Amishism, whatever you call that, the Amish life, and she tried to get a GED, and the teacher who was like on her side was like talking to the camera like there was no foundation to learn, Tori. She didn't know she didn't know what the planets were, and she didn't know what a conjunction was. Because they're so poorly educated. And but the last thing I'll say is the reason that they want them poorly educated is, Tori, if you're not educated and you are SA'd by a monster in your community, when you go to tell somebody, sis, what do you tell them if you don't know the word for even your own genitalia, for what an assault looks like, what it feels like? you don't even have the language to get the people that need to be in trouble. And that's where the Warren Jeffs of the world and all these guys come from. So we need to understand that this is a symptom. This is not a bug in the feature. This is on purpose.
Yeah, not only that, Al, I'll tell you that the Taliban do this. It's just like the Taliban. They don't allow Afghanistan or Afghani girls to educate themselves, to learn how to drive. So it's just like the Taliban. I do want to let you know on a side note, one of the Mormon wives, Taylor, I should get her name right. Frankie Paul. She had been accused of domestic violence, and just today, TMZ released the video. Oh, hi, Michael Dean.
I'm so sorry I'm late. I apologize.
That's okay. First of all, Michael Dean, the colleagues love you just like we love you. So I'm just glad you popped on.
Yeah.
Your dad just left. I'm going through some things, guys, but my family's here to help. Anyways, I want to talk about what Tori was talking about because I'm sitting here with my other window open watching the video.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen it now, but TMZ,
I didn't see it yet.
Oh my gosh. So TMZ released the video of Taylor Frankie Paul and this domestic violence situation. Al, she like her, what is it? Her was it her husband or whatever? Dakota is with her.
Dakota and a child.
Baby daddy.
She is throwing stools, trying to hit him with it. He's like, just let me leave. She tries to kick him. Multiple stools. She's throwing them. Apparently, at one point, her daughter gets hit in this video. I've watched a minute of it. It is 3 minutes and 24 seconds long. ABC, Disney, Discovery pulled the whole season of The Bachelorette.
There's no more Bachelorette as of this afternoon. Premiere. Which is their biggest show, by the way. Now, I spoke
It's their flagship show. Go ahead.
It is the show. Now, I spoke to Kelly, who has worked with us on DBL, and she is all in this.
Oh, yeah.
And apparently,
we should have her on.
I know. ABC knew of alleged DV or domestic violence threats that she had already done something to someone else. But now that the video dropped, they have just announced that they've canceled The Bachelorette, which is an enormous amount of money that they are losing, but for good, of course. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It is hard to watch. The link is in the chat. It's a trigger warning if anyone has dealt with abuse. It is hardcore, and the child gets hit. So
it's about $2 million an episode.
Yeah. It's like crazy that like ABC canceled. They should have done it before because again, there was allegations beforehand, but she was on Mark and Kelly. She was doing the round. She was trying to explain herself. The video drops and you're out.
Mark and Kelly interview because I did.
Yeah.
And they treated her like Balky from Perfect Strangers. Like she just like they were like, "Are you having a good time here in human world?" She's like, "It's a lot." I don't know what she was on. But I've been around a lot of people that have been on medication prescribed by a doctor and self-prescribed. She was on something because she was floating in that interview. And you could tell the interview was weirdly short because they know.
There was like a glitch in it. There was a weird glitch, people said.
Yeah, they had the same thing in the Epstein tape at jail.
Yeah, exactly. And I do want to say that I'm happy they're holding her accountable because it's not just men. It is also women that have hurt people. Now, a lot of people, and I agree with this, Colleen Kennedy says she really does need mental help. She should not be around children. So domestic violence in any way is unacceptable, but she clearly needs somewhere to go to be held safe and to get herself back into a normal place. But Disney waiting for the last second to cancel this show with that video.
There's no way back after that video got leaked. You can't hold this woman up and say that she's the one that all of these bachelors should be fighting for when they might be fighting for their lives later. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's not even a joke. You're right. It's just like crazy.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to be a jerk, but Michael Dean, do you have that picture that she popped up when you and I did the show on Tuesday? Because people think that we're look shaming when we talk about crazy eyes. And Tori, I'll show you my reaction. It wasn't great. Sarah got mad at me. She was like, "That's mean." But I almost fell out of my chair because you can look in her eyes. Your eyes are directly connected to your brain.
Hold on.
Let me take that one off.
Where did it go?
Oh, wow. Oh,
ladies and gentlemen, that's what crazy eyes looks like.
That's dead shark eyes.
Have you ever looked at Michael Dean and he's looked like that?
Have
you ever looked at Tori? Yeah, because her brain is malfunctioning, Tori.
Yeah, her pupils are very dilated.
Right. And you see people when they're on meth and things like that, they have weird eyes. Your eyes directly, when you're on cocaine, your eyes are glazed over. When you're drinking, they flash a light bulb in your eyes to see if your pupils dilate. Your eyes say a lot about what is going on in your brain.
Wow.
This is not look shaming. And those eyes say, hand me that bar stool, homie. And let me tell you this, man, Michael Dean, you could speak to this better than I can, bruh. There's going to be some fallout for this, cousin, because some heads are going to roll. Somebody's going to get fired for this.
Well, I wonder if they sue her.
Yeah. Well, ABC's going to have to let some people go because somebody picked her and took the risk and fought for her in a boardroom.
And she didn't probably write this down on any sheet. The moral clause says she had to have done that. I mean, she could be sued out the gazoo.
So apparently they've already cut all the production staff and all of the people that were working on the show. So all of those people are out of the job.
That's
the other thing that I read that was interesting. So only Sunday night's episode was really in the can, but I'm sure they've shot most of it. So there's that. The other big headache that they're in is that their flagship of all of this, because remember, Bachelorette's kind of like the companion one. The Bachelor is really where the money is. And the Bachelor gets picked based on audience action from the Bachelorette, which means that they probably will have to postpone or not sure what they're going to do about the Bachelor. And it also means that they're probably going to have to go back and pick one of the previous Bachelors on the other show, someone that is known. So that's up in the air. The other thing that I thought was really interesting, all of the hotels, all of the airlines, all of the jewelry company, all of the whoever helped with wardrobe, all of the trade outs that Disney arranged or ABC arranged for the show, right? All of that, those items and those places and those locales and the flights, all of that is given for free by, United or Secrets or whatever that's gifted to the show as a trade out in return for promotion. Well, none of that promotion is happening. So now Disney and ABC are on the hook to pay for all of that.
Who vetted this woman? I mean, we saw she had alleged assault before. Like, who was like, "Yep, that's our girl." After seeing
that's what I'm saying. There going to be some heads to roll because they all knew this is not new. They knew about this video. What they were banking on, and Michael Dean, I want to hear your thoughts working in TV forever. Is they're like, this is my theory, Tori. They were just like, we can get Tori Shulman to do the Bachelorette. She's gorgeous, she's smart, she speaks different languages, blah, blah, blah. We have her. Let's get somebody that moves the needle. She's a Mormon. She's out here sulking and kicking it, swinging, multiple D's in the face. And that is what is moving the needle with podcasts, with their TV show. And they were like, let me get some of that. But the risk, it's like inviting your crazy friend to your house party.
Yeah.
I always say, like, when you have your crazy friend, I am not trying to stigmatize people that are bipolar, but we've had people that are bipolar in our life. You're going to have the best night of your life with them, and you're going to have the worst night of your life with them. Because when it's good, your fun friend got you backstage with the DJ, and you're taking pictures with T.I., and you're like, how'd you get backstage? They're like, don't worry about it. The other side of that coin is this. The other side of that coin is people losing their jobs, people having to account for who picked her, because they wanted those ratings to come with her, but they didn't want any of that stink that came with her. And you can't let the funky dude in the car without the stink. That's what I tell my kids.
Well, I appreciate that slogan, but I have to say, if I were the legal team here, that's who I'm looking at. Because you can say, I want a Mormon, I want this chick, I want someone crazy, and they have to say, absolutely not. So they have to put the kibosh on this, no matter the ratings.
Tori, I think that makes sense in theory. but having worked on a show like this, not like this, but having to make those kind of risk calculations, especially with people who have questionable mental health, like, yes, you send them, you have them answer a questionnaire, you get them to sign some paperwork, you send that out, you get it evaluated by a doctor, you get a sign off, the lawyers look over everything. But at the end of the day, it's, whoever is the EP, whoever is like the development exec overseeing this, who is like, can outweigh that lawyer. It's ultimately got to be a creative decision. That's just the way these shows work. And Al, I think you're right, is like, they wanted the fire, they wanted the name, they wanted the controversy, they wanted someone, and it totally blew up in their face. And you're right, is that they probably knew some of this existed.
They did,
right?
Since 2023.
Right.
The alleged comes from 2023, and for them to still put her on, and for her maybe not to be mentally okay, is really, in this day and age, yeah, you're gonna get maybe a hit show, but you could also lose it all, and they did.
And this, by the way, was the 2023 incident, and she did plead guilty to this aggravated assault. So, like,
what are we doing?
It's all right there, but the fact that the video came out,
yeah,
that's where, like, because you can spin this, you can hire a crisis management team, you can roll her out and have an apology tour. You can talk about what a changed person she is. She underwent anger management classes. She did all these things. She's people love a second chance story.
Yeah, but you would think that they didn't think the video would come out. Like, TMZ is not going to get that video. Like, give me a
Tori,
break.
I'll tell you exactly a situation in which what you're saying intellectually and to a normal person, it sounds correct. I think back to the NFL and the Ray Rice video.
I do too. The elevator.
Yep. Ray Rice, a famous running back for the Baltimore Ravens, went to Rutgers. He and his girlfriend, now his wife, went to a Vegas casino. They got into he assaulted her in the elevator, but the only thing that was released initially was him dragging her lifeless body off the elevator after he had knocked her unconscious. And so the NFL was like, we got to do a little risk assessment here. We don't want domestic violence to be associated with our brand. So we're going to give him like a 4-game suspension, but like, nobody knows any the wiser. We're the NFL. We don't know what happened in that elevator. Neither do you. And smash cut to a month later, that casino closed. Yeah, there it is. Look at those eyes, Tori.
Yeah, that's bad.
For anybody that says we're look shaming by saying crazy eyes, this is what happens when you get somebody that is mentally unstable, that gets ratings, and you push them until this happens. She probably knew this was coming out, and that further inflamed whatever the hell else was going on. But to finish up the Ray Rice thing, the casino that had that videotape that sat on it was closing. And the security guard was like, well, I'm about to be out of a job. What's a quick way to get $500,000? Oh, do you want to see the inside of this elevator? TMZ, and here comes the NFL. Now they got to do a mea culpa. Like, we know. These companies all know everything.
Absolutely. Not only that, think about Diddy. Like, as soon as we saw the Cassie Diddy video done, like, in terms of the general public, we were all like, but this. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, like, if there was no video, it changes the whole game. But it's the video that is like, well, you can't, there's no denying. It's the same thing with George Floyd. It's the same thing with, Alex Preddy and Renee Good. It's like, imagine there were no videos. And that's what happened to Emmett Till, right? Yeah. Like, you just have to believe what they say happened. So again, this is part of your civil rights right here. I always say it.
Yeah.
You brought this up on Tuesday, but I also think in all reality that we too bear some culpability in this, because I'm telling you, we love to watch tabloid television. The people love to see hot messes on TV. It's
Michael Dean, tell Tori your story about the Octomom really quickly. Any colleague that didn't hear it, you guys need to hear this, because I think it's so interesting from somebody that lived it.
Tori, do you remember Octomom?
Of course I do, and I know that you worked at Dr. Phil when that was all going on.
So I brought this up. Here it is again. This is Nadia Solomon. This was her when she was pregnant with 8 children at the same time. All of them lived. The story goes, I believe, if I remember correctly, that her fertility surgeon in her implanted 12 embryos, which I mean, to me, it seems like malpractice.
Yeah.
But when this picture dropped and TMZ picked up the story, huge news, and somehow I managed to book her and get her on the Dr. Phil show. And, you know, I think I did 12 episodes, 12 Dr. Phil episodes with her that season. And which meant that, like, we had to have a storyline. We followed her through all of this. Dr. Phil met with her. Dr. Phil ended up getting a house. I'm pretty sure that it was part of the financial arrangements that went on, you know, behind the scenes, above my pay grade, to keep her coming. You know, Gloria Allred got involved because there were all these mom groups that, you know, were outraged by what happened, and how could a woman who made this kind of decision about, you know, she already had 6 children. So, like, you know, how does one woman take care of all this stuff? It turned into this whole big arc. Highest ratings for Dr. Phil for the entire year.
Wow.
Highest rated show. But we were dealing with a woman who, you know, of serious questionable mental health in the worst time of her life. You know what I mean? Like, where I don't know what postpartum is like, let alone after 8 children. But, like, you know, and I knew all along as I was doing this and as I was producing it, that this, like, I was exploiting this woman who was not mentally well in exchange for ratings, because this is what the people wanted and that's what they were watching.
So first of all, thank you for being honest about that, because that does really color the story, because it's you involved, and we all know you're such a moral person. But the difference here to me, Michael Dean, is one is illegal, which she did, the Taylor, and one is unethical. And you can question that, right? Like, the doctor who did that, this isn't an illegal thing to do. You could question the morality, the ethics of it. But if someone agrees, I am healthy enough to do this, and the doctor has agreed, and I'm set up with enough, what you did was that wasn't an illegal act. So I'm trying to give you some more grace, but I do hear what you're saying, that, like, you put someone questionably, you know, maybe not all there. That is what reality TV and what Dr. Phil runs on. But again, it's in an ethical state versus, like, an completely illegal state. So ABC, I don't know what they were thinking. Sorry, go ahead.
The line that really for so long governed this on daytime television was Penny Jones' situation.
It's a great call. That's a great call.
Where she had a guest on, there's a confrontation, and later that guest killed themselves.
Yeah, and there was also one, I believe, tell me if I'm wrong, Michael Dean, where a guy came on and told another gentleman, I've had a crush on you, and that guy ended up killing that other gentleman out of rage. So it does turn into clear and present danger in some ways, of imminent threat, you know?
And then also the question of where is the culpability in a situation like that. None of that would have happened had the show not intervened.
100%.
And that was this, like, line that we always held up as, like, something that you never want to have happen. Let's be honest, less so because of the people involved who get hurt and killed, but more because it would mean you'd lose your job and the show would get canceled.
Yeah, there's the culpability. That's where the legal team comes in, where they're like, we need to be heard as well. But back then, it's like crazy people on TV, and we're like, remember, like, Springer was just throwing chairs.
But you know what happened, Tori? And we're going to have Bert, our old EP, on, senior executive producer, on to talk about this. Obviously, he was head of the ship at Jerry Springer. Was, for as much as we were like, they're throwing chairs and throwing punches, guess what? They passed Oprah in the ratings. And it's like Michael Dean said, and we've been saying, you know, it's like one of my favorite lines. There's a Spike Lee movie called Mo Better Blues, and it has Denzel Washington and a young Wesley Snipes, and they both play the trumpet in this kind of nightclub. And Denzel Washington characters like, well, there's too many white people coming. We want some black people from our neighborhood coming. And Wesley Snipes is like, we don't play the music that they want to hear. If you play the music that they like, the people will come. If you put the people on TV, the punch throwers, I have a crush on my gay bestie, the Mormon swinger chick that also, has 3 baby daddies. That's what people want to see. Right. So we can get mad at Michael Deans of the world and the EPs at ABC, but you know what? Every time they try and put on here's some wholesome programming about Tori helping people get kittens out of trees, people turn the channel.
Yeah.
And you're out of a job.
But you have to be so careful with that line that Michael Dean was talking about, because it's like, one is unethical and I could see you going there because it's like, hey, that's what the ratings are. And one is like so absurdly illegal. And I remember Oprah had people on from the Klan. Do you remember this? And they were calling her a monkey and an ape. And finally she said to them, I don't want this type of craziness. I don't want this type of show. And so she fundamentally switched her show from that. And some people went the completely other way, which is, yeah. So,
quick, Tori, you were right. It was this fatal shooting that happened 3 days after the episode, where there was a secret same-sex crush that was revealed.
Yes.
In 1995.
Yeah.
That was the end. That the guy who's Scott Amador.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that so clearly. And Jenny Jones was like in shock. I mean, it wasn't.
She took the stand. Do you remember? She
testified. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was and that's what can happen when you push people to that level. People want to see you at the very limit of where the human experience goes, and they want to see it. And that's what happens especially during
that moment that you hear your husband is cheating with your sister.
Yeah,
they want to
you're
see
not
Tori's
the dad.
face right at that moment. You're exactly right. Okay, let me sneak this story in before we get out of here, but it really applies to what we're doing. Michael Dean, stay and hang out. All right. Yeah. Tori, it appears the price is wrong. Former models from The Price is Right say harassment was brushed aside during the Bob Barker era, and that even the so-called 10-second rule felt like a joke. First of all, what is the 10-second rule? Anybody know what this is?
So from what I read, basically the women were so uncomfortable because so many members of the crew and staff would just gawk at them and would keep staring. In response to some of the pushback from the models, they instituted a 10-second rule, which meant that the men were only allowed to gawk for 10 seconds. I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm laughing, but it's 10? so ridiculous.
That is so absurd. And I remember in Family Feud when the guy was drunk and like holding on to the women and kissing them. Back then it was like that was terrible. I do want to bring up real quick, Al, that Cesar Chavez has just come out. We've learned that he was abusing women, and already Gavin Newsom is thinking of removing Cesar Chavez Day, and boulevards and things are going down. So,
wow.
Just here in Denver, they've renamed the park. It is no longer Cesar Chavez. Is that right? I read that it's Si Se Puede Day. And the Cesar Chavez Park, which is in the Berkeley neighborhood, Tori,
that's my neighborhood.
Yeah, they had a bust of Cesar Chavez that was named already. Graffiti has blacked out.
It was right on Tennyson. It was really, really cute.
Taking down the bust. The mayor had a big thing about it. Wow. They're having to redo all of this. And you know what really pains me about that? Sorry to get away from The Price is Wrong. But he really led this whole movement and was, celebrated, and people had so much pride. I can't think of how, generations of people drove by that park. They were proud of that bus that was there. He started this labor movement. Right. It really meant something. And it's all like, I hope, if anything, it starts another conversation rather than just killing the movement, because the movement can't just be one person. And that's part of the problem when we say, when this ends up happening, because people are human. I mean, that does not mean abusing 12 and 13-year-old girls is okay. Yeah. I can't believe that it took this long for it all to come out.
Yeah, not only that, Michael Dean, I do want to also say, like, I hope this goes on to say what other political leader was abusing and hurting 12, 13-year-old girls, because somehow we've taken action and responsibility now, and yet we're letting one person just completely go. So I just hope this brings back up the Epstein files again and again and again, because it cannot be let go until we put those perpetrators away. But yeah, big news for people who had a lot, you're right, a ton of pride about that movement. And now it's muddied. It's completely muddied.
Tori, and MD, I'm going to say this, man, and we can run after this because it's we're going over time. And I really talk about like personal conversations that I have with people. But I was talking to my homeboy Don on Monday. He and I just have philosophical conversations about this world and where we are and how we view it. And I had just parked at Walmart. Sorry to brag. And we were talking about the prevalence of SA in the world. And I told him that one story I always think about from DBL is a story about the Boy Scouts where they had 86,000 credible accusations. And I think, like, we did the story. I don't think we got one comment on it. Then if you look at our lineup today, Pam Bondi talking about adjacently SA, Cesar Chavez talking adjacently about SA, Frankie Paul associated with a community that is dealt adjacently with SA, Josh Duggar, a community directly and with a community that is directly SA. Is it that we are doing stories about SA, or periodically we're just doing some potpourri stories that don't involve what seems to be the basis of human culture? This is international. It is everywhere. It is in the church. It is in religion. It is in entertainment. It is in politics. It is in finance. The head of the WWE defecated on a woman's head in the office. What are we looking at here? Because we keep doing these stories, and I feel like we're just turning a flashlight on and being like, oh, the Boy Scouts, oh, models, oh, the church, oh, the Mormon wives. Maybe if we turn the light off in the house, we realize it's the whole house. Mm-hmm. Because it's really every single story that we do. And we're talking about what do we do with these holidays and what do we do with these TV shows. And it's because if we took care of everything, if we erased everything, what would be left?
Mm. And you wonder why women don't speak up or hold keys in their hands when they go home at night. Every single woman has been scared at night. Every single woman, your sister, your daughter, your cousin, your grandmother, your mother, we have all been terrified before. And so it's and maybe this comes from the president down, because we're talking about assaulting at the highest level of government, kings, royalty, the Norwegian prime minister, like maybe that's allowing us to discuss more SA and discuss more about that. But what's interesting to me is who is taken accountable for it, right? Like who actually has motion put in to take accountability and prove guilty, and who just gets away with it.
Who the people that are not affiliated with major organizations. So when you have something like To Catch a Predator, remember that old TV show where
and he turned out to be a predator.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah. And so, like, if you're just some dirtbag wearing sweatpants watching Nickelodeon, which we haven't even mentioned, how'd those kids turn out? How does Amanda Bynes look right now?
Yeah.
What happened
Shia
to her?
LaBeouf, all those kids.
All of them. Orlando or Brown, whatever that kid's name is, the black kid. He plays my favorite part as Tiger in the movie Major Payne. That was my dad's favorite movie. I always think about him when I watch that movie, and he has lost his mind.
Yeah.
All of these kids.
And remember Corey Feldman, Al? He kept saying it. There's a ring. Elijah Wood. There's a ring for pedophiles. There is a ring. They were saying
there's an island. They were saying there's an island.
No one believed them. They thought they were crazy. And like now we're starting to hearing about that over and over and over again. So it's kids in vulnerable positions. It's women in vulnerable. It's men in vulnerable positions. By people
in Fish CEO. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it is Yeah. So it's scary. It's scary out there. But I'm glad ABC did that. I'm just wondering why it took so long.
Yeah, they heard it was going to come out. I mean, trust me, they didn't get develop ethics right at the end. Like, you know what? I feel bad about this. They tried to smash that chick. I think the only other question is, and really quickly, I'm gonna hit you with this: is this gonna blow back on the Mormon Wives franchise? Because the Bachelorette is gone, but can they keep doing that show? Because this is gonna affect all those other girls. Because 2 of them were on Dancing with the Stars. They got makeup lines and they got babies.
She's in Broadway right now in Chicago. She's doing very well. One of them, Bailey.
Grand opening, grand closing.
I don't know if it'll affect them. I think Taylor was someone that stood out as someone that had real problems.
Well, they paused the show, right? So I don't think it's going to go for it, and I don't think she's going to be welcome back. At least not until there's that requisite period for her to go and heal herself.
Yeah, I mean, but like the thing is, and Michael Dean, it all comes full circle in terms of like we like to watch chaos on TV. If we don't have the person that's acting kind of nutty, what are you looking at? 5 influencers? I would rather stare at the wall while a man hit me with a shovel. They're boring. They don't have any personality. That's part of like how they're raised. So like you need like any reaction, you need a catalyst to cause the reaction to happen.
But if we keep raising the bar with that, Al, like now we're getting into like abuse. I mean, if we still need more drama and more drama, it's like not just Octomom. Now we're like, let's get a murderer or let's get someone who is like violent. You have to keep raising that bar, which is very, very scary.
Well, lastly, Tori, let me ask you this, girl. Do people care? Because Josh Duggar, that scandal dropped, and all those fans, which I'm sure have also had some interaction with that community, the way they brushed that off, they immediately, TLC was like, waited a year and dropped another season. 20 kids and counting, and their fans were like, cool.
That was weird. I mean, it's still on. Am I right?
Maybe not after this, but maybe. Is that what it takes to get your show off the air? 2 essays?
I thought it was still on. But yeah, The Bachelorette has been canceled, Lucy, if you hadn't guessed. It's and then you wonder, when do we need to stop topping the drama? Like, when does it come down where we watch Antiques Roadshow, British Bake Off?
When I'm in a full body cast.
No, like we got to get back to
grab the remote.
Corey, have you started Scarpetta yet?
I auditioned for Scarpetta. Yes, I did. I've read every book. I love Scarpetta. Patricia Cornwell, great author. I auditioned to be Nicole Kidman's mother in a flashback, news flash. I didn't get it.
Oh. You could be Nicole Kidman's mother.
I think I could. No. No.
Well,
put another shrimp on the barbie.
Yes. Well, guys, I love you. Even though our world is filled with disgusting PDF files, you know who isn't one? Everybody in our chat, all of our colleagues, all of our coworkers. Notice I didn't say Tori. No, none of us. Honestly, very low. There's some good people in this world, and like I really do. And you know, this is the last thing I said before we go. Tori and Michael Dean, I'm always worried about doing the show without you because like I was scarred when I couldn't find the chat, and I'm like, I don't have enough stories. And you know what Sar said for me? She was like, you better do the show. She said this yesterday. She was like, those people ride with you. And that has forever changed how, not that I didn't know that the colleagues rode with us, but like it gave me a sense of responsibility. Like we do have a community here, and the monsters in the Epstein files certainly nurture and cultivate their disgusting community. And we're going to cultivate our beautiful community. And that means me showing up. And it's not that I don't want to, it's just that I'm scared I'm too dumb to work the technology.
We all are scared of you being too dumb. We get it.
All right. Well, you're talking a lot of shit to somebody's got to pick you up on drugs tomorrow. So everybody wish Tori
video. Please take a video. I want to see Tori in her propofol.
Yeah, right? Propofol.
Oh, you're gonna get that good sleep. I'm so jealous. See if you can get a little bit, just a little.
I woke up to my nose stuff angry.
Did you?
Oh, you were mad?
Apparently, the nurse was like, I was very grumpy with her when I woke up. This was like, you might owe her an apology or two, and I like apologized, and she's like, you don't owe me an apology. It wasn't you. I get it. And I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
You don't know. Like, apparently I woke up and started talking about these guys I met in Puerto Vallarta. And they're like, yeah, the 5 guys from Guadalajara you met. That's like,
yeah. Oh my God. Who knew the Eiffel Tower was in Mexico?
Oh my God. Yeah. So thank you for praying for me. That means an incredible thing. I'm trying to spread awareness and not be TMI. I just want people to get them regularly.
Absolutely.
And to push the stigma. And so I might be doing a reel about it. Who knows? But it's important, you guys, because I had a colorectal surgeon on, and he said as soon as you get into stage 3, stage 4, it's the survival rate goes way down. But if we can get 1 and 2, it's so much better. And you know, I had some symptoms, and I was like, I called him, and he was like, "You better come in. We're doing endoscopy and colon." And I said, "You know what? Let's just do this. Let's do it." My mother was faced with a lot of medical trauma. Let's try and take care of ourselves that way. And if anyone's been waiting, do it. I'll send you.
All right, so truth, we got it.
Okay, we've been having to go now for like 20 minutes.
All right, I love you guys so much, Michael Dean. Thank you for popping on. Tori, I love you. Colleagues, we will be back on Monday with lots of footage from Tori's colonoscopy, endoscopy. Be safe this weekend. Remember, the world is filled with good people. They're just some dirtbags that make a lot more noise. So for that, on behalf of Al Jackson, Michael Dean, and Tori Showman, puff of smoke.